Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
It's good to be bad to the bone, especially if you're George Thorogood. The Rock and Review is on location at the Gibson Factory here in Nashville, Tennessee. And this gentleman beside me, George Thorogood, has sold 15 million albums and played over 8,000 live shows. That's pretty amazing, George.
I think it's just amazing just to be here.
And also, you have 2 platinum records and I think 5 or 6 gold, if I'm correct.
I'd be the last guy to know. I just don't really. I know it sounds modest and humble, but I just don't have the time to be. I do know someone has come up and said, "This is your best-selling record."
Right.
I think it's our live record is actually the best-selling. That's what I've been told.
I've owned most of them.
So I don't really keep up with that because it's time-consuming, and I'd rather be taking a nap.
And on tour again, because you kicked off this tour, and it's been going on since 2019, 45 years of rock. 45, bad to the bone, and you're still doing it.
Yeah.
And selling out shows all over the world.
Well, don't blame me for that. I mean, so it's all my fault.
I'm just saying, yeah, because when you're that good, and you've got that great a band with the Delaware Destroyers.
Well, it's nice to be in demand, I guess. It's, you do something and you improve your instruments and work on your show and all that. And, anybody that I always say this, the best BMW car that's ever made is going to be made this year. So what I mean is you improve your act. You have to with everything you do. It has to be as good or better than what you've done before. And I learned that in business before, whatever your business is, on what level.
Right.
If you don't, and besides, I got to a point and I said, fellas, listen, if we don't hunker down and keep improving our act, they'll go see somebody else. Nobody's that great. Right. Nobody's that great to say, if we play lousy or we don't do this, that, or the other, they'll still come see us. Wrong. Doesn't work that way. If Epiphone started putting out lousy guitars, they would stop buying your guitars.
Right. Well, and you are so associated with the Gibson ES-125, and last year you got your own signature model guitar by Epiphone, which is the White Fang, and I played it as soon as it came out, and what an incredible instrument. And it comes to where you can put the sticker on it like yours, and you were very involved in the creation of this instrument also, right?
Well, I want them to duplicate the 125 as much as possible.
Yeah.
That was, because I know Gibson and Epiphone are kind of hand in hand in the company. And I used to say, no, Epiphone, I don't know, Gibson, that's it. Brian Jones played a Gibson. Chuck Berry plays Gibson.
Right.
I'm like, that's got to be it. And they said, well, Epiphone is just as big a company as Gibson is, and they'll make it, as long as they make it work. I said, well, I have no choice at this point because you don't have any guitars left. So they came up with this, but they knew my hands have to work a certain way on the instrument, on the fretboard and the cutaway. So all this had to happen first,
right? Or
it would be no go.
Well, and also, for a musician of your level too, George, you're playing them live, and you play hard, and you play with a slide. You have handmade slides from copper pipe, and so it can't be some little instrument that you're strumming around a little bit. You play hard. Yeah,
well, I have a pretty aggressive attack, and I've paid the price for that too, because I have small hands and small wrists, and to beat on at the end of the night, I'll go, give me a song that I can just sing, like Mick Jagger does, or Tom Jones, because my hands are just shot. And another thing is these guitars, as it should be. I told Pitt, I said, when I pick these guitars up and I start playing them, I can't put them down.
Right.
And he said, that's the way it should be. That's the way. But on the other hand, when I got a show coming up in 2 hours, and I'm sitting there and I've already spent 2 hours with it, take it away from me. It's like a pitcher in the bullpen.
Right.
Throwing and throwing and throwing, and said, well, it just feels so good. Yeah, but then you get out there and you're like, ah.
And we were talking earlier before we came in here to do the interview that you did play semi-pro, but also you have been named one of Delaware's 50 most influential people.
Yeah.
In the last 50 years.
Me influencing somebody? Oh, it's a world coming to.
It's a world of rock and roll.
Well, whatever. I'll take it. It's
That has to feel good, though, George, for all, the music you've done and the, other musicians you've toured with and everything else. And like I told you, you helped introduce me to some of the blues musicians I hadn't even sampled, going back to how, your first concert that got you playing rock and roll and blues.
Well, it's just flattering to say these influential things and all. I'm just sometimes not shocked, but taken aback that somebody knows who I am anyway, let alone these other accolades, for lack of other words. As far as me influence, I said, when we picked up the band, or I started playing, and they said, well, yeah, you turned on all these people. I said, that's ridiculous. Isn't Slim Harpo a household name? And they said, no, it isn't. I was like, you're kidding me.
Right.
Because only all the artists that I listen to, that's all they listen to.
Yeah.
So I figured that was the whole world of music. It was Robert Johnson, Muddy Waters, and all those people. And they said, no, not everybody's aware of who those people are. I said, that I don't buy that. No, I just can't accept that. But they said, so when they came to me, and I said, no. Talk to the Rolling Stones. They're the ambassadors that turned the world on to this music. And they turned me on to it.
Yeah.
And now I just want to play it. The Stones were out to influence people. They said their goal when they started was to make other people's heroes their heroes, other people's heroes.
Right.
So I had tried to tell them, I said, well, then I'm your success story. And they were just like, well, what do you mean? I said, I read it. You said it over and over. I read your book. In 1966, I read your book. And you kept saying that over and over and over. Keith Richards' hero is Chuck Berry, when like other kids have Chuck be their hero. I said, well, you achieved it with me.
Exactly.
And I'm like, can't you just be nice to me and say, okay, George, we're happy that happened, you know? And they kind of shrug it off like, well, you know, everybody should have known. I said, well, thanks to you. I mean, they brought Howling Wolf on Shindig.
Right.
I mean, come on.
The amazing Howling
Wolf.
Wolf.
Come on. They can't duck it.
Well, you know, and besides, you know, so many things you've done with rock and roll and with your guitars, you also helped bring about the popularity of snakeskin jackets again. You know, and you were telling me
a little too popular. Price is up on them. I can't find one anymore.
And the early ones your mom made for you.
Yeah, the ones I wore in the live shows.
Yeah.
Like I wore one of them I think one of them I wore in the Bad to the Bone video, the performing part, what they did at the place where Jerry Dean and Starlighters did the Peppermint Twist, the Peppermint Lounge in New York City. That's where they cut it, and I was wearing one of those jackets.
Just so cool.
But I usually did them just for photo shots. I wore them in the shows sometimes. But yeah, in the early days, that was the stuff I wore because I couldn't find it in a store.
Well, and you were all over MTV and everything too. You were like the poster child for MTV.
We were fortunate. We were fortunate to catch that medium in its infancy, and provide
great videos, entertaining videos with great music.
A couple of them were like the video Bad to the Bone's like a mini movie.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, it's that kind of thing, combination of, you know, the Cincinnati Kid and the Hustler.
Right.
And that was the idea. So yeah, when we hit that, I have to tell you that periodically things that happen with this band is our record came out when FM radio was on its last legs. So we got Bourbon, Scotch, and Beer in there just before it closed the doors. Okay, and now we go up to 1982. MTV is now just starting in 81, and early 82 I got with EMI, and so we got there because at that time MTV was on for 24 hours. They had no commercials,
right?
And the demand was bigger than the supply. They were looking for stuff.
Yeah.
They were calling people, and I said, here I am. Not like now where you got 10,000 people standing in line to get on that. So we got in on the ground floor of that. So that kind of ran its course. Then out of nowhere came a thing called rock classic radio. And one of our songs was selected in the early days of one of the ones we want to get it to kick it off.
Yeah.
Now rock classic radio rules now. We all know that. After that, and that hasn't run its course, it's still going strong. Totally strong. And then came another thing, was the chain of the House of Blues.
Oh yeah.
Which we got in on that when it just started.
And I saw you at a House of Blues in Las Vegas.
There you go. And that happened. Then the Native American casinos started rolling, and they were saying, no, we're not into Vegas type acts. It's that we don't want to have, you know, the Dean Martins or this stuff. We want rock acts. Rock is what brings in the people.
Totally.
That's what does. So I said, you got in at the last thing of FM. ground floor of MTV, ground floor of Rock Classic, ground floor of House of Blues, and Native Khmer by playing one song. So I said, you got the one song that fit each one of those deals, see? So we were real fortunate to catch things either just as it was on the way out, or a lot of them as they were just on the way in.
Yeah.
Whether we were one of the first to call, to you know, one of the first horses in their stable, so to speak.
But I mean, besides Bad to the Bone, I mean, so many other great songs, just like, you know, One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer. Also, Get a Haircut, Get a Real Job. Come on, that's a fun song.
It's the idea. I mean, what is wrong with rock and roll being fun?
Right.
You know, I said that. A guy did a review and he said, only Thorogood could get away with a song like this. And one cat said, the lyrics might be sophomoric and silly, but the music is pure rock. Oh. And I said, what is rock and roll but sophomoric? You know?
Right.
I mean, when the guy says, wake up, little Susie, it's teenager music.
Exactly.
I mean, and I said, people start taking something real serious when a big bucks come in.
Right.
That's when it changes. So I said, well, isn't it okay to be funny? Isn't it okay to have a laugh?
Yeah.
You know, with a rock beat?
And that's what you still do on stage with your live shows. And I know you're going to have the tour continues this year. Besides playing the Ryman here in Nashville, Tennessee, also you're going to be touring like around the world, hitting the UK, Europe.
Yeah, but we're going to change the name of that tour next year. It's not going to say it's good to be bad. It's going to say it's good to be good looking. How's that sound?
I like that.
All right.
You know, and you got your brand new guitars. I was going to bring up too, George, that with your signature model Epiphone, and it's a limited edition and it has a certificate that comes with it, but the handle for the case is done in snakeskin also.
Yeah, I you know, I got them at home, and I have ones I go on the road with and one at home, and I looked at this, I opened the cases, I said, Eric, no lie, I looked at them and I went, holy cow, I better start taking what I do a little more seriously. Look at what someone, so I said, the Reverend did a great job with these cases with the snakeskin thing and the open thing. And he goes, no, that was Epiphone did that. I went, oh man, now I'm in trouble. They're starting to think I'm somebody.
And they're right.
Well, all right, if you say so.
Well, I'll tell you what, be sure and catch George on tour, and you don't want to miss any of it. Go to georgethorogood.com, and he's going to be playing all over the world. It's good to be bad, right? It's good to have a signature model Epiphone guitar.
It's good to be bad. I said, it's good to have a song Bad to the Bone. That's good.
I'll tell you what, you always want to go see him live. Download the music too. More hits, maybe some new music coming out again in the next year or so?
I sure hope not.
Maybe some of your favorite bluesmen and everything, a nod like that, because I'll tell you what, that acoustic album you did 2 years ago was incredible.
Thank you. Well, we call it solo record. There's a couple electric songs on it, but it was me playing alone.
Wow. Just a great artist. The one and only George Thorogood. Be sure and catch him. Also, if you're looking for a cool guitar, take a look at the White Fang Epiphone George Thorogood signature model. Thanks for watching the Rocket Review. Before we leave, you gotta put it and tell the truth. The other guitar, the black one I play, right? Its name is Blacktooth. Ah, see? So it's not just this one, White Fang and Blacktooth. My favorite comic, Soupy Sales, had those two dogs. You just see their hand. Totally. Well, that's where I got it from. White Fang and Blacktooth, and those are the guitars I play on stage. So I have both of them. So that I have to give credit to Soupy Sales more than myself. Definitely. So I figured we got a white guitar and a black one. What are you going to call them? Oh, one Lucille. Yeah. We call it Lucille. You know, people call it name their guitars. So I said, all right, I got mine. White Fang and Blacktooth. I'll tell you what. Pick up your own, the one and only George Thorogood. Thanks for watching the Rockin' Review.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of a Bobby Bones Show.